Hello, my name is Daniel Young. I'm the owner and founder of Adaptive Perspective and the Adaptive Perspective channel, where I help you make your dreams a reality. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I love strategy, targeted strategy. That awareness is key because I'm going to keep sifting through these financial means using our investment strategies along with some everyday down to earth common sense. Reminders, this is an unedited video. Who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these in my house. If you just heard that really odd, high pitched, it's not a humming noise, but if you heard it, that's the summer cicadas. Uh, I do not have plans of showing our closed-end fund strategy on this video. And then I am not a financial advisor. I am a financial strategist. Please know that I'm not out to slander anybody. I'm just interested in separating the good from the bad when it comes from financial advice, or really any advice, because none of us want bad advice as we navigate our finances. So let's mosey forth. This is my Pinterest page, and it is continuing to grow. So thank y'all. We're operating off this board of means, at the bottom of which there are several that have already been done. So we're continuing to move up the board. We're on this one today, which is an interesting spot. I've seen this guy. I've heard of this guy. I have no idea if he's a financial strategy guy. Uh, I want to say he's an actor, but I honestly don't know. Um, and I'm not going to be able to modify this, so I will eventually download it, re-upload the pin. But his advice is important because it mirrors our financial journey. The whole point of the 12 steps to financial freedom is this. One day you're going to wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things that you've always wanted to do. So do them now. The 12 steps program, our 12 steps program is awareness of where you are, a like a conscientious approach to where you want to go. Like we look at your dreams and what you want to accomplish. On for us, our top three, own, and it's a tie of sorts. All right, but it's we want to own property so that we can run a conservation based hunting program. Really whitetail, but also anything. So we want property to include the property itself, right? The house, the outbuildings, so we can run the hunting business and have assets that help us pay the bills. So we're not tasked with having a profitable hunting business the first really 0 to 5 years. Uh, and in that, my wife wants a early 1960 or really, I guess, mid, but an early Ford Mustang convertible. And those are the things that we're working towards. So we know where we are, we know where we want to go, with the reality that once we reach those dreams, we also must exist beyond the dreams because now we have to keep them and then journey forth into kind of uncharted territory. But you realize the dreams and then you keep going. It's not like you get the Ford Mustang and you die the next day. That's not the plan. So, or it's not like we buy property and build the house. Perfect. We have a hunting business and then we're just done with it the next day. That that's not that's not on the plans. So we know where we are, we know where we want to go, and we want to do it outside of that 40-year expectation that comes with a full-time job. That's part of what he's saying, but he's also saying this. So since I'm a hunting guy, I'll use another hunting analogy. If I wanted to go hunt with Jim Shockey, who's an outfitter in Alaska, that's an easy 10 grand trip, maybe 12 grand, who knows? But if I'm going there, then it's not like I'm just going to put 12 grand on a credit card and hope to pay it off one day. It's not that. It's I'm going to save that money. So I'm going to buy the gun that I need to have in order to shoot a moose in Alaska. And then I'm going to be an expert marksman. Like I'm going to do target practice and become an expert at 100 yards, but really those shots are sometimes 400 and 500 yards. So I'm kind of going to have to become a long distance shooter, not the true 1,000 yard range, but well beyond your typical indoor shooting range. So I'm going to buy the gun and become proficient, like just an excellent marksman. And I'm going to save up to do this trip. And that might take me a couple years, might take me longer to save 12 grand. But we're going to buy the gun and practice with it during the time and then save up money to do this trip. And then when you have the money, go, right? Don't wait until you're 65 with a bad back and horrible knees and planning to trek 6 miles a day in Alaska. Save the money and then do it, right? Save the money and then, yeah, drop 12 grand on your credit card and just pay it right off and get all the points for that. But don't wait to do stuff. Wait in the sense of save up for it. Don't just blow your money and not be able to pay your bills. Not that. Save up for stuff. Do stuff now, right? The motif with retirement is you go to college, and then you work 40 plus years and retire and finally have time to spend with your family. Fuck that. Like work your ass off at job, get promotions, scale the ladder, and then 40 years later, now have time to spend with your family. Again, fuck that. I want to see my family now. I want to see my kid grow up. I want to be there for all the important stuff. And I'll be the first to tell you that early in my career, I didn't get to see a lot of the important stuff because I had other stuff that I had to do. And some stuff I thought I felt like I had to do. And regardless of how you see the COVID stuff, it was like a giant slap in the face for me. It forced me to see how much I was at work and how little time I had spent at home. It rattled my cage. Like I thought I was doing all this stuff at home, and it was like, oh my God, I'm not doing anything at home. Like my priorities are completely flipped, and my job is eating up my time and my life, and I'm not with my family. And it made me feel pretty sick. It made me feel like I had failed a lot. So I changed that. It was really hard to change that. Easy in the sense of, yes, I've got to do something different. But the ramifications of that, like the last 3 years, have been an odyssey of sorts. Um, and like we're like at the front of that journey in the sense of like, I mean, I woke up and it's like, oh my God, I'm not doing all these things. And I want to do these things. And if I do the same thing, I'm not going to do those things. And I want to be around and I want to see my daughter grow up and I want a better relationship with my wife. And I don't need to be at work all this time. And it was scary in the sense that what I'm doing now is very foreign to the lifestyle that I had 3 years ago. But what I'm doing now, I'm very happy and fulfilled in what I'm doing now. And I'm just trying to help other people realize the same thing. Life is not lived at work. I completely get it. Like we both have to have a full-time job. Like we both have to be at that job for income to pay the bills. But the goal is not to work that job and retire at, with 40 plus years in the game. The goal is to retire early and to do the things that we want to do, to take the trips and be with our families and invest that time where it needs to go and not at a desk at work. You can impact people everywhere, right? You can be nice to the people at Starbucks. You can inquire about people in McDonald's. You can invest in people wherever you are. And I'm not saying you can't invest and uh, inspire change. Like I love what I do as a teacher, but at the same time, I don't want to be doing that for another 25, 30 years. The goal is to leave the full-time job early, own property, open a hunting business, and have that be my full-time job. This quote hits. It's just if you're in the system, and not like I'm not talking politically. I'm not talking rabbit holes in that regard. It's if you're in the full-time job system, like you went to college to have this job, plan on working your ass off until till your fingers are really thin, like you're work to the bone, right? If you're going to retire at 75 plus, more power to you. Like if you don't see anything else or that's your goal and you don't really have the other stuff, more power to you, right? Because our dreams can be different. But if you're like me and you don't want to be doing that until you're 65, 70, 75 plus, if your goal is to retire early, then you and I are in the same game. And you and I are playing a different game than everybody else. So listen to this guy. If you don't listen to me, listen to this guy. Read the quote and not in a busy room. Like really think about it. Think about your life and think about if you're doing the stuff that you need to do and if you're doing the stuff that you want to do. If you want to buy an RV and travel through rural America, really just the rural part of your state, like park it at a state park and just exist there for a week, right? If that's your goal, then how can you change what you're doing now to accomplish that goal as soon as possible, right? What can you change that will accomplish your goals a hell of a lot faster than 65 plus? Because if your job is to invest in your family, yes, you got to have the money to live, right? I get it. You got to pay groceries and bills. But if your job is to invest in your family, you cannot do that if you're always at work. Life is not lived at work. Your family is not being invested in if you're always at work. Life is lived outside of work. Your family needs you at home. Do the stuff you have to do. Be with your family. Do the stuff you have to do and live the life you want to live now and not later when your body may or may not be good enough to do it. That's all I got to say. I'm just going to leave it there. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rambling and keep going. So if it could have happened on its own, it would have happened on its own, but it hasn't. Therefore, wherever you are and you see wherever you want to go, make it happen because it will not happen on its own. Have a great week. I will see y'all on another video. Bye bye.